Hello there, it's Jan back from JB Crafts. Thank you for joining me today. I have a very quick and simple card to show you today, mainly because I've been away for most of the week with the family, with the little grandbabies, and I was quite short on time. I'm normally filming in advance, so I needed something quick. And I've put this one together, very, very simple. And I thought actually it does serve a point because occasionally there are instances where we do need something literally quick as. So I had a quick rummage through the old stash, had an idea in my head of what I wanted to do, and I've just come up with this little 5-inch square card. Pulled out a stamp set that had the sort of star wreath in the background, a couple of little cute characters that I've coloured with my alcohol pens, sentiment, and we're good to go. And I've kept this one all white. I am going to put a slightly different slant on it today when I remake it for you in the tutorial. As I say, very, very simple. And I've got, stuck again very plain and simple with the sentiment inside. So it says, hope you're feeling loved. It says, I thank my lucky stars for a friend like you. All white on white today. I've got a couple of layers on here. I've got a base layer that's smaller than the card, and then I've got a layer that's lifted with some foam, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I love that it gives this sort of drop shadow from the layer that's lifted. So yeah, I've got a lot of this prepped. It's only going to be a short video today, but as I say, it does tick a box from the point of view of when I know I've done it myself. I thought, oh crikey, it's someone's birthday. It's maybe a neighbour, or not so much members of the family, or it's a friend. And I thought, oh, I need a quick card, or sometimes just a thank you card, or hope you're feeling better, something like that. Or just as to give with, a gift with maybe a bouquet of flowers or something like that to say thank you. It's ideal to have something that's nice and quick to put together. So I've got my layers, and this time, instead of the white layer in the back, I'm going to use some matte mirror card in the back. So this is sort of a silver, and I just thought we'd try it with that extra sort of bit of shine today with this one. I know sometimes people have said, oh yeah, why do you not use a coloured matte behind it? You could quite easily have picked one of the colours. I've just kept to the turquoise and the pink. Could have picked either of those colours out for a matte layer, but I wanted this one to be reasonably clean and simple. So as I say, I'm just going to swap that underneath matte layer for the matte mirror card today. So my card blank is 5x5, and I've made it as a tent fold. I've got my fold at the top, and then I've cut this one at 4.5 inches square, and I've just put some tape on here ready to stick this down. Again, trying to use up some things that I've had for a long time. I've got a lot of rolls of double-sided tape. It's not something I've used a lot of. I do normally prefer wet glue, but I thought, do you know what? They're in the cupboard. I'm getting low on wet glue, so let's use the tape up. So again, I'm going to keep this one as a top fold or a tent fold, however you want to describe it. And we're just going to pop this one straight in the centre there. So you've got a good 1/4 inch border all the way around the outside, and I've just taken the edges of my tape off so that I can just pull these out when I've got it in position, and it means that I've got everything nice and square on the front of there. Give it a press down, and that layer's good to go. Okay, and then we've got our top layer. I've come down 1/4 inch this time. We've got 4.25 inches, and we're just going to have a slightly narrower border than what we've got of the card showing. This is the one that we're going to stamp on, so I'm just going to put that to one side for a second. And I have still got the stamp in my stamping platform, and I had a look through the stash. I knew roughly what I wanted to do, and this is actually from a Crafter's Companion set that was called Cosmic, and it's got this lovely sort of wreath with the stars in, and then there are some elements that you could use with that collection. It was all about the stars and the planets and things, but I've just taken the wreath out of there, and I've got it in my stamp position already. We just need to make sure that that is nicely in the corner of my platform there, and then that one's going to fold into the middle. So I've got it in there ready, and I used a grey rather than black. I didn't want it to be dominant, I wanted it to be in the background. So I've used my VersaFine Clair in grey. This one's Morning Mist. Not quite as bold, obviously, as the black. And then we're going to ink up the wreath and transfer that onto my card black, my piece of card there. Give that good saturation with the ink. Pop this on here. Excuse me, and just apply a little bit of pressure there on the stamped image, Make sure that's all made contact with the cardstock. I'm using smooth white cardstock. It's about 300 GSM, and that looks fine. I'm happy with that. So we'll just give the stamp a little bit of a polish with my wet wipe that's not so wet. It's been in the conservatory, it's dried out a bit, but it's done the trick, just to get the residue ink. And this is what we're actually going to work with. Now, I've changed the colours up slightly today, just to give you options. You know, you could do this any colour. Because we've got these cute little bears, I'd just gone for the pink and blue for the girl and boy, which, you know, very stereotypical girl and boy. And I've pulled the same colours out, the turquoise blue and that lovely vintage pink in the wreath. I'm going to swap it out today for more of a green and lilac. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to use green instead of the blue, and we're going to use the lilac instead of the pink. Okay, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit of ink. I'm not even going to bother blending. I'm just using the lightest shade. These are my Tri-Blend markers, and I am just going to add a little bit of what I call just flat colouring. I'm not too worried about the blending. It doesn't look, I'm just looking at it now, it doesn't look that different on camera. This one is green turquoise, the other one was aqua that I used before. So the larger stars are going to have that turquoisey green colour in. And yeah, you could adapt this to any particular colour scheme, you know, and any occasion really. You know, this could be a new birth card, it could be a thank you card, could be a nice, might make a nice little anniversary card. And again, this one's lavender blend, and I'm just using that lightest tone just to add a little bit of colour in those stars that have the open centres. And this is going to link it in. I've got my two little characters already done, coloured and cut. It's a very quick one today, unlike my normal videos that are usually a wee bit longer. Yep, so that's all I'm going to do with those. So that's those two. Okay, so this is ready to go on the card, and I'm going to put some foam squares behind here just to raise it up a little bit. So these are sticks too, and I'm just going to pop these on the back so that we've got some height. These are about 2mm ones, I think. And again, I've got a stash of these, so I'm just working through. I'm running out of space in the old craft room, so I'm just working through using some of the supplies that I've had for a while now, in the hope that I can create some space. So I think that's going to work for there. We'll bring our card back in and make sure I've got this the right way. And again, the wreath is not really a right or wrong way. I'm just going to go with the same that I had on the other card. So we're going to take the backers off here and then get that one in position. And then I've just got a couple of little bits to go on the front. As I say, nice and quick today. So I want to hold that over the top and just aim. Try not to get my head in the frame. Just make sure that we're running about the same all the way around, and then once we're happy we can commit to that stick. And then I have used, this is an old set that I got off the front, I think it was off the front of a magazine. I've no idea who the supplier was. I think it was one of the paper crafting magazines. I've used it a couple of times. It's got the most adorable little bears on here and some lovely sentiments. So all I've done is stamped out these two little guys at the bottom. I've got the little girl in her lilac dress, and then the little boy one's bringing her some flowers, and I've used that that green turquoise, same colours as what I've just done on here. And then I've popped some foam pads on the back of here, got those ready, and then I stamped this one, Hope You're Feeling Loved, and I've just blocked that out with my guillotine and added a little bit of colour again just to tie it all in together. And that is as simple as this is. So I'm going to take the backers off the foam pads, and then we'll use the tweezers just to pop these in place. So he's actually looking a little bit coy there, and we're going to stick him just above that green one there. And then she's looking equally coy. She's not sure how to take the flowers. They could tell their own story. When we can get the backs off, Jan, here we go again. Look, you know, the minute I get on camera, Let's not play. One more. Come on, you can do it. There we go. And then she's going to sit here down at this bottom edge. So yeah, I've just coloured them in. I kept it all fairly neutral. I used my grey marker, my ice grey, to just colour the little bears in. They've got a tiny little dab of pink for their little blush cheeks, and then I've used the same colours as what I had on the stars to do the rest of it. Added a few little gems to the centre of the flowers there, and one in her bow. And then we've just got our sentiments. Let's just make sure these are not going to fight back as well. I've got the same little foam pads on there. There we go. And I'm going to pop this one. I've just blocked this with my guillotine and then just chop the end at an angle just to give it a little bit of shape. And I'm just going to cross the wreath with that one. Let's just make sure that's looking nice and straight. Yep. And then press that one down and commit. And that literally is it, guys. I said it was quick and simple today. You know, it's sort of whichever way you want to do it. You know, you might not have this particular stamp set, but anything like that that's sort of cute. It could even, doesn't even have to be cuties. You know, you could have a couple of birds in here. You could put a butterfly into there. It could be absolutely anything. If it was for a little boy or girl that was interested in space and astronomy, you know, if you do have this set, you could have actually put the planets or the stars into the, you know, the wreath there. Whatever, lots of different translations, but that was my quick and simple. It's relatively clean and simple. If I bring this one back in, we've just added, I've just got some Aurora gems, and where these little circles were open on the wreath here, I've just added some of my little Aurora gems on there just to add a bit more shimmer and shine. So yeah, we've got a choice of colour. I think I actually like the purple one better than the pink. I like the purple and the turquoise together, that green turquoise. As I say, these are a very similar colour, very similar. Green turquoise, and then the other one was aqua blue. But I do like it with the purple. I like that lavender with it rather than the pink. It's very cute. And then, as I say, adding this silver layer in has just lifted it a little bit, I think. I went with white on this one. I wanted to keep it all white to keep that kind of clean and simple look. But I do like, I think that silver in the background just works with the grey. And then obviously these are cool tones that we've got on here with the purple and the turquoise green. So yeah, quite like it like that. But you could make a series of these, you know, if you've got any of these 5x5 inch cards, you could make a collection of these in lots of different colours, pop them in a little gift box and actually gift those, you know, as an occasion. And then the only things I've done to finish off with is that I've taken my white pen here and I've just given them a little highlight on their nose. And whenever I'm working with the little cute characters, I've got a black glaze pen here. And I like to sort of go over the eyes. Sometimes I do the nose as well. But just to give the eyes that little bit of dimension. And you could use little tiny gems if you've got tiny black ones. It's maybe not so obvious on that one. I don't know whether the camera will pick it up. But yeah, there's just a tiny, tiny little bit of gloss on there as well. So just those little finishing touches. So that's my design today. Very, very short one. Very unlike me. But like I said, I just needed something to fill in. We've been away at our caravan during the past week. I've had a poorly little grandbaby. The eldest of the boys has not been very well. So it's been a tough week. He was well out of sorts, bless him. He'd picked up some kind of bug. So yeah, and we just sort of not quite got back on our feet. So I needed something quick, something simple, but that ticked a box in case you guys are ever in the same situation. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if this is your kind of thing. Do you have a preference in the colour? Do you like the silver matte behind it? Do you like the all white? Love reading the comments, and I will get to, I will answer those. I have started replying to all the comments on the channel now. And then I'll see you all very soon. I'm back. I've got an idea ready for the next one, which will be uploaded. This is a Tuesday. The next one will be the Saturday upload, and I've got an idea buzzing around in my head of something that I want to do, and that's going to be scrap busting again, I think, if I go ahead with it. So yeah, I'll see you all back here for the Saturday one. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back very soon. Bye bye now.